rawandwell friends, just popping in today real quick. I know I had promised you I was going to show you the Buddha's hand and what I do with it. So I'll be doing that. But just a few updates. I haven't been on in a while because we've been cleansing. So we've been on just fruit. It's going to be 9 weeks. Well, tomorrow is 9 weeks. And we're continuing with that. We did add the 2 juices and we stayed that way through the liver flush. So we fasted yesterday and the flush is today. So I have some trophy pictures. Maybe I'll post them later if I'm brave enough. But anyway, that's what's been going on. So I haven't really come on. We didn't go full juice. We just fasted instead. There's variations to what I do, and I like to try different ways and see how I feel best. And this is the first time we did all fruit, and I feel amazing. The detox wasn't so bad. Like, I didn't have really bad detox days, except for the watery eyes, which I always get, and some mucus here and there. Otherwise, I felt pretty good. Aches and pains in certain spots, which is normal for detoxing because you're bringing up old injuries and things like that. So some days I was a little sore, whatever, but I made sure I've been moving a lot, so I upped my miles, and I've been doing a lot of walking, fast walking. So that helps a lot too, to keep moving, or if you can afford it, do some yoga or whatever when you're detoxing. It helps with the symptoms. But I did notice that starting Wednesday, which is when we started our fast, I was irritable and anxious and just So and hubby pointed that out this morning, and I got all defensive, about it. And that's kind of normal, because especially when you're detoxing the liver, you're pushing through a lot of old stuff that hasn't completely come through yet. I didn't get any old stones. They're all new, green, bright green, which means it's mostly cholesterol and things like that, but better in than out. Better out than in. So that's exactly what we wanted. So I've expelled, I would say on the upwards of 100 today. And I'm sure when we break our fast, we just did our lemon water and we're ready to do our first juice, and that'll kind of break the fast. Not really, but since we were on just dry fasting for a few hours and just liquid before that, so that brings up a lot of detox symptoms. We're not super dirty because, like I said, we do this twice a year. So it's just really maintenance that we're doing. So that's what I've been up to. So I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and that they enjoyed their family and friends. We chose to do this year. It was my first year that gave me a break from cooking or uncooking, whatever we're doing at that time. So, it was kind of nice to just chill and embrace the detoxing. So that's what happened for us. I hope yours was more exciting than that. So, let's get to this. Oh, and the other thing was, I don't know how often I'm going to be around, but for the next week and a half before I leave to go to Siesta Keys with Steve Factor and a bunch of other awesome people. So we're gonna I'm going to stay all fruity until then, and then whatever comes up there, I'm totally ready for whatever Steve has up his sleeve for us. I'm going to just go with it and not worry about it and see what happens when I come back. So that's what's happening with it. So that was the other announcement I wanted to make. So I'll be leaving on the 8th, I believe, getting there on the 9th. So I'm driving down. So once they settle in, I'll see what they need me to bring, and we'll probably do some lives from there. So that'll be exciting. And I get to meet Dr. Morse. Woohoo! I'm so excited for that. So let's get on with our Buddha hand. So this is a fruit, and you don't eat it because, but it comes from the citrus, derives from the citrus family. So it's got this really nice citrusy smell to it. Even just sitting here while I'm touching it, so I'm kind of breaking the little particles in there, and they're releasing their aroma. But some days I come in the house and I could smell it because it's been sitting on the counter. So before it goes bad, I figured I'd get on with this. So what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna freeze some, and that way I'm gonna take out from the freezer, and I could just use my microplane. Let me show you what that is. So I have two sizes, one with big holes, one with small holes. So that's two different sizes. And depending on what I'm doing with it, I like using, a different one. But if you only have one size, it'll work. So that's how I'll be using the one that I'm going to freeze. I'll just take one out and whatever I want to flavor, like sauces, desserts, raw desserts, or smoothies, or salad dressing. There's so many uses, just like using an orange skin or a lemon rind, or lime or grapefruit. So I also like to dehydrate those separately, and I keep them in a jar, and you can flavor your tea with it or whatever, so don't get rid of all your peels. But that's really what this is, the main purpose of it. Or you could infuse it by, letting it, boiling it down. But we're talking raw here, so the best way is to either powder it or use it fresh while you have it. I've taken out a nub from here. I cut a piece off, and as you see, it didn't brown too much. That was like almost a week ago that I cut that piece off, and so it lasts quite a while, but I don't want it to go bad. So the frozen one I'll probably use up first, or whatever, depends how much I'll use of it. Because this is very seasonal, so we only see it once a year, and it's usually around this time of year here in New York, and I found it at Whole Foods, but you could probably find it in an Asian market. They would probably carry it, but it would also be very seasonal, so whenever it comes up where it comes from, then it'll come up here. So it's not an easy thing to find. So I like to take advantage of things like this, just like I did with my stevia and stuff. By dehydrating it, I'm prolonging its shelf life and forming a better way to use it because it's in a powder form. In the frozen form, I can use it for salad dressings the same way. So, but the powder in dehydrating sometimes works better than when you're using it fresh. So I would probably be using the powdered more for dehydrated things and for raw goodies, and this for other purposes like salad dressings and more fresh stuff. So basically what you want to do is follow along with it. So this is the Buddha hand, and as you see, it has fingers. Some people call it Buddha fingers because of that, I think. Or they get confused, but it's really Buddha's hand. So it separates pretty easy, and as you see, just like in any other citrus, there's a pith here, which is the white part, and then this is the rind. This is usable. The whole thing is usable. So it's not too bitter, but a little bit goes a long way. So play with it and see what you like and how much of that flavor you want in there. But the aroma is amazing, and once I start this dehydrator later, it's gonna smell so good in this house. It's gonna be like a natural air, what do you call it? And I don't even remember the name anymore. Like those Glade things you used to plug-ins, whatever. I don't even remember the name anymore. It's been so long since I used one. But that's what it'll act like. It'll just smell so good in here. It'll freshen the air up. So for a few days we'll have a nice smell going on. So as you see, I'm just separating like the fingers. And then I'm going to stick the whole thing in the dehydrator. And it'll just break apart later on for me to put into the in the coffee grinder, or my spice, what I call my spice grinder, but it's really a coffee grinder. So these will be dehydrated, and the smaller ones I'll put in here. So let's start with this. This will go in the freezer. Put a label on it, and I can always go in there and pull one out. I'm going to put them in there. Oh, these are the ones. I kept the shorter ones so they fit in here, and I don't have to struggle too much. So I don't want to put too many. I don't want them touching, because if they touch, then they'll stick together. And I'm cutting down one step that you usually supposed to put it on a sheet pan, let it freeze completely, and then package it later. But I'm kind of cheating over here. That's like the chef's shortcuts. We think we're invincible, and we make these shortcuts. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep that over there. And this will be plenty, and it'll last a long time in the freezer. And the parchment paper keeps it from getting freezer burn, because there's really no liquid in there. So the parchment paper will keep everything nice and healthy in there. And then I'll put a label on it with a date, and I just have to go in there when I need, pull it out of the freezer, pull one piece out, shave some into whatever I'm making, and then put it right back in the freezer. So that's what I'll do later. And now, just take your, this is going to take a while because it's thick. I should probably like cut it in half, because I'm going to, yeah, let's do that. Let's cut it in half. Because then it'll be easier to fit it into the coffee grinder. And it'll take less time to dehydrate. Because these big, thick, these pieces will dehydrate and then the big, thick pieces won't. So this will make it a little bit more even to dehydrate because they're all the same size. So that's pretty much what it looks like on here. And it's going to take a while. You'll know it'll be like completely dehydrated. And then you could just put it in your coffee grinder in batches as you go. Alrighty, so this will go in the dehydrator. I'm not going to turn that on now because it'll be too noisy. But that's pretty much all we have to do. It's very easy, simple, and this is my way of finding seasonal things that I could use later, and I come up with ways to be able to make their life prolong longer, so I could have this all year round. This will last me for like at least 6 months to a year, and it's not going to go bad once it's in a powder. The one in the freezer, I'd say probably 3 to 6 months tops. But the dehydrated one will last up to a year or more. Unless there's moisture in there, you have to make sure that it's completely dry. So that's it for today. Maybe I'll pop in the next couple of weeks again. But just so you know, I didn't forget about you. And as promised, the Buddha hand is done. But I won't be around too much until probably when I come back, and then we'll do a challenge or something like that. We'll see what we're going to come up with, because there's going to be a lot of ideas going around the table with all these great the same like-minded people so we're going to collaborate and come up with some cool stuff, I bet. So I'm excited for that. So you guys have a great day. It was good to pop in, and I hope you're enjoying your long weekend. So bye for now. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow my live videos so you get a notice at least, and you could watch it later if you can't do it right away. And I'll also be uploading a YouTube video on the same thing because I have a cameraman, so I have 2 cameras going today. So if anybody popped in, I'll check after this. I'll go check up on you and answer your questions. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for having me.